back to Comic Beyond. So in this episode, we're going to be covering medieval Spawn, Witchblade. So our story starts off in Central Park, and there's a man named Matthew Royal sitting on a bench, and he's kind of telling a story about something that happened in 1175 AD, and he was also back in that time. And the story he's telling is the story we're talking about, which is where he was like an advisor to a ruler of darkness. And if you know the character from Top Cow, which is also working on this book with Image, they have the character of the Darkness. Well, every almost like the Witchblade, every 100 years or whatever it is, every generation basically has their interpretation of that character. So in this, we have a medieval Spawn, we have a medieval Witchblade, and then we also have this time period's the Darkness. So that's where that kind of ties in. And she's also affiliated, he's also affiliated with the Witchblade character. So it makes perfect sense to put that in with this book, I thought. So he's advising the ruler of darkness. He's like, you should expand your range of your land, your power, and your army, and all that stuff. And we should invade the fairy lands, because they're no match for you, and we could easily take them over. And all this stuff, putting ideas in the ruler's head. Little does the ruler know that this Royal dude has his own intentions, his own scheme going on. But he's using this invasion basically as a means to an end to get what he wants. So time goes by. They start invading the fairylands, slaughtering the people. And then we're introduced to medieval Spawn, who shows up rocking his armored horse and his awesome medieval armor. I love this. I've never been introduced to medieval Spawn until I read this book. But I did read the issue of Spawn where he was introduced, but he wasn't rocking the armor. It was just literally Spawn without his getup. But in this, he's got his armor, he's got his horse, he's wielding his power sword or whatever, his shield, and he just looks fantastic. And also, I'm just a fan of 90s art in general, and this book has got it. It came out in, I think, 96, 95, 96, and the artwork's phenomenal. And that being said, so we're introduced to Spawn, and he's trying to figure out, where this invasion came from, why is this happening. The Fairylands has always been a peaceful place. They've never bothered anybody. And then we cut to, before we cut to it, so the Dark Ruler sees this guy come up, and he's taking out his men, and his right-hand woman, Eleanor, asks Royale, so who is this? He came out of nowhere, who is he? And he's like, he's a hell spawn. And he's like, he's nothing to worry about, even though he's taking out the Darkness dude's people. He's nothing to worry about. So then we cut to a tavern where we're introduced to our Witchblade character, Katrina. And the barkeep is, his name is Stalker, obviously, for reasons. But he's like a sleazy, slumlord, type of dude, just trying to get his way. And so she's not been paying for her B&B. She's been having bar fights, stuff like that, tearing up his place. And so she's like, okay, well, you can do some stuff for me, and stuff like that, being sleazy. And she's like, yeah, I'm not doing that. So he makes her do like clean up around outside, again, being sleazy. And so she comes across the Witchblade gauntlet while she's digging, and then out comes out of a portal is Spawn. So throughout this, there's mystery that they know each other because he recognizes her immediately and stuff like that. Well, not knowing who he is, she reacts and puts on the gauntlet and transforms her into more of a Witchblade look. And then he explains to her, I'm not your enemy, this and that. But there is some stuff going on. I got to get back to it. The fairylands are being taken over, and people are being killed. I got to go. You should come with me because I don't know if you know what that is, but it's very powerful, and I could use your help. So she's thinking about it, And then Stalker's like, yeah, no, we should definitely go and help him because I heard like the fairy people are very wealthy and they have a bunch of gold and stuff like that. We could be rich. So she's like, yeah, that's true too, and so I got to figure out what this thing is, and I think he knows me. So she decides to go. The tavern keep, Stalker goes with him, and so they get there, and in the beginning of the book, you see that Fairyland is very beautiful, very bright. Once they get there, it's very dead. Everything's been burned to the ground, stuff like that. And so while they're traveling, they stop for the night, and out of the blue, Royale shows up because previously Eleanor is kind of getting on to him, or she's getting onto his scheme. She knows that, he's not necessarily looking for the best interests of the Dark Ruler, and the ruler, he's kind of just blinded by his power and everything going on, but she's seeing this dude for what he is. And so, she threatens him. She's like, "Oh, if you don't tell me what it is you're looking for or what your master plan is, I'm gonna tell the ruler." So in the middle of the night, he sneaks away from them, finds Spawn and Witchblade, and he's like, "I need you to help me. I got to get to this tower keep in this land because there's power I got to retrieve, and then in retrieving that, I can help you take out the ruler." So he's, Spawn's like, yes, we must do this, and the Witchblade's like, yeah, sure, I'll tag along. And then Stalker's like, I don't trust him. And it's probably like the smartest thing that Stalker says in this book is the fact that you don't trust him. But I guess bad news bad. So they go, they get to where they need to go. Immediately, just thousands of army soldiers are charging at them. Stalker goes up the tower. He's like, just give me 30 minutes and I can find the power I'm looking for and I can help you destroy them. So and Spawn's like, yes, we can do this. He's very gung-ho. And so Stalker's like, yeah, I don't trust that guy. I'm going to go keep an eye on him. And then his intentions are he's going to go look for the gold, but in the same time, he's looking for Stalker. So while the battle's going on, Witchblade kind of loses it, like loses herself to the power of the Witchblade and just unleashes. But she's able to control it. Spawn thinks it's for other reasons, but it's actually just the fact that she's enabled enough that she can control it on her own. She doesn't need extra help controlling the Witchblade. And from what I know, the Witchblade, it chooses who it wants it to be its wielder. So that's probably why it chose her, because it knows that she can control herself. So this goes on. Royale gets made out by Stalker, and he's not really looking for any kind of power to benefit the group. He's doing it for himself. Stalker gets knocked out the window by Royale. He's saved by Spawn. And then finally in the last issue, I read this issue by issue. There's also a trade out you can get, but I read it by issue. A 3-issue series. But in the last issue, so everybody shows up, and that's when we have our last big epic battle. So Eleanor's taken out by Royale, and he's like, you tortured me for information once, and you got the upper hand of me, but I learned that I'll never let that happen again. So he puts her in her own personal hell, and she's like in prison forever. And then so Spawn and Witchblade team up and take out the Darkness Ruler, and then Royale escapes. And then so we find out that the mystery of why Spawn knows Witchblade is because they know each other before he was Spawn, before she was ever, at the tavern. This was years ago. And they were lovers and stuff like that, but things apparently went wrong somewhere because he became Spawn. And so she's like, yeah, that's true, and this and that, but that's not who we are anymore. And Spawn's like, I agree, we're on totally different levels now. So that's where we leave our characters. The last page, we see Witchblade and Stalker. He's like, oh, together we can be rich, with that thing you got, we could take on anybody. And she's like, that's very true, but I got my treasure now, and she's referring to her Witchblade. So she doesn't need gold and this and that. She has actual power. And then we cut back to Royale sitting on the bench. And when they took out the Darkness Ruler, they sliced off his head. Well, somehow over time, Ruler got it, and it's still sentient. It can still speak to him. So he's telling the Ruler of all the events that unfolded after he died, pretty much. And the fact that he actually got his power he was looking forward to. So all that ties into, I think, something else with that character, Mather Royale. I don't know what came of him after this book, because that's about where his character leaves off in this, is just, he does get the power he was looking for early enough, and we find out that he's like hundreds of years into the future, and he's sitting in Central Park, and he's reaccounting this to the dead Darkness Ruler from like 1175, something like that. So I think all that ties into something else bigger, probably into the more of the lore of the darkness or something like that. But all in all, I really enjoyed this mini-series. I like the Witchblade character. I've been a fan of Spawn, but I really enjoyed the medieval Spawn. I'm not sure if they did, but if they did more with him, I'm definitely going to seek it out. In my next episode, we are going to see more of the medieval Witchblade. But I enjoyed this book. The story was actually, it was 3 issues. It was a fast story, very simple. Good character moments. I liked all the character moments between Witchblade and Spawn. Even though Stalker was sleazy, there was something almost like characters in movies that are like that. They're still somewhat likable. Don't necessarily like him, but he was a tolerable comic relief, I guess, throughout the book. The villains weren't bad. I didn't care for the Darkness Ruler. I did like Eleanor because she seemed to be the one with the brains in the group, and she could see that Royale was up to his own shenanigans. So I kind of liked her over the actual main villain, I guess. I guess Royale would be the main villain, maybe. But all in all, I actually ended up really liking this book. First time I've read it, actually. And I would definitely go back to it. I'm going to research and see if there was more done as far as Medieval Spawn. There was a reboot, I think, of this miniseries later on by the same name, but I think it's after they rebooted Witchblade. So I'm probably going to check that out. It's more modern, so I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it as much as the fantastic fun of the 90s was. But that's this episode. I do want to say sorry that it's been almost 3 months since I put out a video. In those 3 months, work's changed for me. We moved. So just a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes. But I'm back now, and I'm going to try to do more videos in the coming future. But I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a good read. Hope you can find it and check it out. And until next time, I'll talk to you later.